Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing the District Test 2024 Group 9. I already taught you how to do it. So now we're going to go over it. So make sure you download the problem so you can see it. So I have the problem right here taped to my board to help me add the numbers. As you look at the problem, you need to understand is anytime you're doing an income statement, the biggest thing you need to make sure of is what you see in merchandise inventory. Is it the beginning or is it the ending? So I'm going to give you a couple of hints. If you go look in your supplies, okay, and if you go look in your expenses and you see supplies or insurance expense, then you know it's an adjusted trial balance, which means the merchandise inventory you see is the ending. Okay, another clue is income summary. If income summary has a balance, then you know it's the ending inventory. If income statement and supplies expense and insurance expense has no balance, it's not listed, then merchandise inventory is the beginning inventory. So there's some clues to help you to realize, because if you get these two numbers, beginning and ending, mixed up, it will affect your whole entire answers. All right, so let's get started. Now, the answers you can see when you're answering questions, you can go in any order. You don't have to go first because you're going to get stuck. So we're going to try to get the easiest ones first. So what I like to do usually first is I like to do net purchases. If all the information is there, it's one of the easiest ones to do. So here we go. We're going to start with purchases. So if you look, purchases is $84,265. Transportation in is $87.80. So when I add those two numbers together, the cost of merchandise delivered is $93,045. So that's the answer to question number 59. So I would go ahead and write that down. Okay, then minus purchase discounts, which is $37.85, and minus purchase returns, which is $49.35. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract those two numbers out, leaving that number previously I had in my calculator. And I get $84,325 for number 64, which is my net purchases. Okay, now net purchases goes over here. So $84,325. Okay, now beginning inventory. We don't have beginning inventory, right? But we do have ending inventory, which is $55,275. I'm missing beginning inventory, so I can't do cost of merchandise available for sale. Minus ending inventory gives me cost of merchandise sold. I can't do any of those. So I come over here. I need to calculate net sales. So let's go ahead and calculate net sales. Again, that's another easy one. So we have sales. Sales is $150,420. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my calculator. Minus sales returns, $42.10. Minus sales discounts, $67.80. So my net sales is $139,430. So that is the answer to number 65. Now I'm going to go place this in the equation. Whoops. Okay. Now, I don't have cost of merchandise sold. I will never have gross profit because it's not an account number. It's a calculation. Total expenses. Okay. So I would have to add up all my total expenses, starting from advertising all the way down to utilities. I believe I have that. I went ahead and added it ahead of time so it wouldn't take very long. So our expenses are $39,690. Okay. And then we would need to subtract gross profit minus this number to get our net income. Okay, now, so we're stuck, right? You're like, we're stuck. We can't do anything. Well, let me show you. We can. We can calculate beginning inventory. So in a previous lesson, we learned that when we adjust merchandise inventory, the difference between these two amounts goes into income summary. Okay, so if you look, we have 21.25 debit for our income summary. Okay, which means we also credited 21.25 merchandise inventory. Okay, now remember, beginning, I'm going to go ahead and draw it right here. Beginning is on the unadjusted. Ending is on the adjusted. So 55,275. And what we did was we credited merchandise inventory for 21.25, right? So we actually, because it's a credit, this amount is a debit. We subtract the credit to get this number. So we have to work backwards to get the beginning inventory. Well, if we subtracted that, then we want to add these two together to get our beginning inventory. So 55,275 plus 21.25, we get 5,700 or 57,400. Okay? Now, so that's probably the hardest part of it all. Once we get that, now we just go ahead and go down the equations. So 57,400, by the way, that's number 58, plus 84,325 gives us our cost of merchandise available for sale, which is number 60. Then we subtract our ending inventory, which is 86,450, which I'm going to go ahead and just move over here underneath our net sales. So net sales minus cost of merchandise sold. I'm going to leave this number in there, and I'm going to subtract the bigger number. Don't be alarmed by that negative. I'm going to take the negative off with this plus and minus. So our gross profit is 52,980. I just subtracted. And then I'm going to subtract my total expenses. And I get, for net income, because we made more than we spent, of 13,290. So now you should have all the answers to this group. Okay? Now, as far as the additional information, you did not need that to do this question. Okay? But you will need that information to do the rest of it. So group 9 is continued, but I just wanted you to do questions 58 through 65. My next video will be over answering the rest of the questions. Make sure you subscribe, hit like, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment. See you next time.